In today's episode, I'm actually going to be covering Anthony Fantano, the internet's busiest music nerd, not a musician. Is there anything you want me to cover? Drop a comment below and I'll try to make it happen for future episodes. This video isn't exactly going to be about what makes Fantano give a 10 or make him get his red flannel out as much as we'd want to know. There are enough videos that cover those topics, so go see Volkgeist or Soundfield's videos on them. Instead of that, I'm actually going to look at the basis for how he chooses what he likes, and how this leads to the reason so many people value his thoughts. The first thing I'm going to get out of the way is subjectivity. Now, this gets interesting because music, like all art forms, is subjective, because everyone has their own opinion on it, and Fantano himself states it's always his opinion. You're going to tell me it's always his opinion anyway. And sure, like any reviewer, because of that, he's given controversial thoughts and reviews. And I think this is a reminder that no matter how objective any reviewer of anything tries to be, that human nature eventually overrides what they try to say. And with human nature, you always get that unique point of view. And that's important to keep in mind, because even if Mark Kermode himself gave a bad review to a movie you loved, it's not invalid to disagree. And most importantly, it's important to stand by your own opinion, regardless of whether it's the majority thought or opinion or not. Everyone's got controversial opinions about something they love, not just Fantano. Now, putting subjectivity aside, the process Fantano tends to hone in on is actually quite unsurprising. I think most of this video from here on is actually quite obvious, and I'm going to avoid using a lot of examples and focus on the actual concepts, as simple and as obvious they may be, as I've already stated. Firstly, he encourages originality and experimentation, which doesn't stray too far beyond what made that artist great in the first place. So for example, the hate on Chance's Big Day stemmed from the consistent diversions both lyrically and production-wise that he spotted. I think Fantano, like most people, tends to look at albums and look for things that make them go, wow, that was good, rather than, is that really meant to be there? More or less, that kind of aligns to, is there cohesion in this project? It's the reason people are a fan of an artist. They like that artist because that artist is themselves. They're not someone else or trying to copy someone else. I think what Fantano also tends to look for is lyrical wordplay that is both written with a purpose and either matches a melody or a rhythm. So there needs to be some thought as to what the message is, and a link to something else within the same sonic production in regards to what that artist is trying to tell the audience. Not filler, and not rhyming for the sake of rhyming or repeating age-old tropes. And I think that's a key point, because music, like most art, is actually narrative-driven and is basically trying to tell a story, right? If the story sung or rapped is repetitive and has no progression, then anyone will inherently go, wait, why am I spending my time doing this? I think people only tend to watch a movie, for example, twice if it was really, really good. And that stems from if it made that individual think differently and from a new point of view. And I think that kind of leads on to the point where Fantano is always looking for music that makes him think and question things that he already knows, or question a new point of view. Now that all leads to production, which Fantano does not underrate. As he once said, if the music under your message is garbage, the music is garbage. He always appreciates detail that adds rather than detracts. It's about saying, are the sounds I'm giving the audience clashing, and why have I got them there in the first place? It's about avoiding tracks becoming too busy and also maintaining that sense of purpose. And the thing is, it's not even related to the instruments purely. His message to artists can even extend to, if you're going to have a skit within a track, link that skit to the music or the concept you're discussing to the audience. And it's kind of clear to understand why. People, and especially Fantano, hate being confused. They want things presented as straightforward, but as cleverly and as intricately as possible. So basically, if you're a musician and you give a personal point of view that raises unique, coherent questions while not confusing the audience sonically, chances are Fantano will probably be intrigued at minimum, even if he's not about to get the red flannel out. I think one of his strengths as a reviewer is admitting that his breakdowns are the start of a discussion, not the end of one. And I reckon that's definitely a great reason why he's a strong to medium